Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ICE Technical Meeting Women in Engineering. This event is brought to you by the Institution of Civil Engineering, ICE. My name is Astrid, and it is a pleasure to act as your master ceremony this event. Before we start, allow me to read the rundown of our event this evening. First, I will be reading the rules of the webinar. After that, the event will be guided by the representative of ICE-JLA Jakarta Local Association, Phil Woodmansey, as our moderator to start the presentation of our first speaker, Yurena Wijayanti, and later will be followed by Nova Sundralawanti, Trudy Hasna Tatiana, and Jocelyn Wijaya. The event will continue with the Q&A session. Now, let's pay attention to the following rules. For attendees, you can ask your question to the speaker by pressing the right hand feature located at the bottom of the screen. For those who attend on-site at command, you can later raise your hand and the moderator will let you ask the question. The question should be in English. You can raise the question after the presentation of the speaker. Now, I would like to invite the representative of ICE-JLA Jakarta Local Association, Phil Woodmansey, to give his opening remarks and also guide the webinar onwards. To Phil Woodmansey, the time is yours.
Thank you, Astrid, and good evening to everyone, and welcome to our event. It's nice to see quite a few people here at EP, and welcome to those who are online, and welcome to everybody. Tonight is a slightly different type of event. We're celebrating women in engineering. It's something that we've been doing for several years now. It's actually a worldwide event, but we like to celebrate it here in Indonesia as well. I'm pleased to say that we have 4 speakers tonight, senior practitioners from the world of academia and research, others actively involved in consulting and contracting, worked across infrastructure and mining, and they're all senior members of their staff. So, the message to the students, when you leave university, these are the kind of people that you're going to encounter, the ones you're going to be worst job. So pay attention, learn from them, and let's enjoy listening to what they have to say, discussing about their careers. So the first speaker, Dr. Yuriana, is actually in Perth. So she has prepared a video for her presentation, and she will be the first speaker. The other 3 are all here live in EP with us, they will follow. I will do a very short introduction to each, but I'll certainly allow plenty of time for those to hear from the ladies. So Dr. Yuriani is a lecturer at Venus University. She's also associations of research at Murdoch in Perth. She's essentially a water resources engineer by trade. She has a doctorate from the university in Japan. She is actively as an academic researcher, and she's got a real interest in sustainable water supply and renewable energy. So we'll allow Dr. Yuriana to get started, and I'll just allow our technical people to prepare the video. So hopefully that won't take too long. Okay, you guys ready? Yep, I think we're ready. Okay, thank you. Enjoy.
Thank you for the invitation to be part of ICE Technical Meeting Women in Engineering. I will arrange the flow of my presentation based on this slide, my experience as an engineer and as a researcher. So after I graduate from Civil Engineering Department and Master in Sanitary Engineering, I started to work as a water resource engineer. At the time, I also lecture part-time at a private university in Lombok, Mataram, and Universitas Islam Indonesia, Yogyakarta. And in 2010, I took a doctorate study on groundwater contamination at Yamanashi University. After returning from Japan, in 2013, I joined a private university in Jakarta because I was trying to continue my research on groundwater using this isotope tracer. But at that time, it was not possible. I continued my work as an engineer as well as a lecturer. But I will still find ways to continue research in groundwater. In 2016, the Agricultural University in Yogyakarta was work opportunity open there. Since my research was on contamination caused by fertilizer, chemical fertilizer, so I was joining this university. This is where I started to do interdisciplinary research work until now. So, I'm working as a consultant. The work that I have done were located in Java and West Nusa Tenggara. So, in West Nusa Tenggara province, in Lombok Island, as well as Sumbawa Island, the project mostly in the area of sanitary engineering. So, the communal wastewater treatment plant design, also the sewerage system of this communal wastewater treatment, and sanitary landfill in Lombok Barat that serve both Mataram City and Kabupaten Lombok Barat called Gapuk Regional Sanitary Landfill. And I did the review of the drainage system, the master plan drainage system at Praya, Lombok Tengah, and also the engineering design of drinking water and wastewater facilities, and irrigation system, survey investigation design. And at Sumbawa, I did a communal wastewater treatment plant design for Kecamatan Brang Rea, Sumbawa. Previously, I did drainage system design for PT Gudang Garam Housing Kediri in 2019, just before COVID. So from these slides on, I will share my interdisciplinary research experience. I was in the Center of Research and Community Development at INSTIPER Yogyakarta, where I had new experience such as community development for women and farmers. Also, I get to meet students from rural area in Sumatra, Kalimantan, and Papua, because INSTIPER well known for its oil palm plantation scholarships. So many students were from this area comes to INSTIPER. Also, my task was arranging collaboration research. This was where I first had a chance to do a research in groundwater again. So one of the students from Murdoch University, she did a study on groundwater in Yogyakarta, and I had a chance to assist her in doing her study here. One of the study in groundwater studies is the study on urban harvesting approach, or UHA. So here, concerning the decreasing of precipitation within the last decade, so water balance study was performed. Here are some of water balance diagram for each kabupaten and kota in Yogyakarta province. So there are 5 in total of kabupaten kota in Yogyakarta province. There are 3 areas that experience a water deficit, which is Bantul, Gunung Kidul, and Kulon Progo regencies. Few villages in this area have been canceling their agriculture activities due to lack of rainfall. They had their well dry off or received water supply aid from local government in Gunung Kidul regencies. Some remarks from these studies are water demand of agriculture and livestock production is the highest among other purposes. Combining aquifer recharge by stormwater and effective irrigation can solve water deficit problem in all regencies by only converting 40% of surface run of groundwater. Some remarks from this study already presented in a conference and also published. Another study was on groundwater quality. In this study, we used secondary data from Environmental Bureau of Kulon Progo. So I have a friend there. When I had a study at Gajah Mada University, so I could get access to the data and we analyze it using ArcGIS to produce the map of groundwater quality distribution. These are still the result of groundwater quality, and we also did a site collections of well water and analyze it. In STIPER and BPPT collaborate to propose a grant. So the agriculture and water sectors in Western Australia have been successfully tackling the impact of drying climate. Therefore, we proposed this grant. So in 2018, this grant it was granted. So Murdoch University collaborate with BPPT and INSTIPER will exchange knowledge on sustainable water supply, groundwater management, and irrigation via workshops and local activities. So this also the start of research collaboration between BRIN, so then called BPPT. So also under this grant, we did a workshop and with water management authorities, PDAM. From this workshop, we got some facts at the time that already installed some of rainwater recharge well or sumber resapan in many areas, but not yet monitored the performance of these wells. Also, the recharge well could be applied at as one of the approaches of groundwater conservation. The groundwater abstraction also been done for tourism industry in the coastal area that should be monitored as well. So from out of these studies, so in 2021, the desalination water kit provided by MOOC Water implemented in the school and village at Nusa Lembongan. Okay, this is another research about groundwater with my students in her final thesis at Binus University on the groundwater quality of manganese and nitrate in shallow well. Because this been during COVID. This is also during COVID. We did the research during pandemic on the wave energy. We conduct the literature review on the wave energy converters technology. So we review the potential application and also the current research in Indonesia. So now it's under review, this paper. So the so here, so during this research, I learned about the how to do the review, literature review research. So using the Prisma systematic literature review, this one is conducted by Pak Agus, the from Research Center for Environmental and Clean Technology. So many people from three institutions collaborate to this study. So one benefit of collaboration research is everybody can focus on what they do best, then contribute to the research goal. It saves time and can produce a richer result. It allows also for knowledge sharing as well. So in 2022, BRIN wanted to do a research on agriculture under the solar panel at the Technology Park at Baron Beach or Baron Technopark in Yogyakarta, and looking for a partner to do the agricultural study. So I contact my colleague at Instiper, and we did this research together. The construction of solar panel on agricultural land might cause a conflict. So the agrovoltaic system can be the solution. Also, the vegetation will reduce the temperature below the panel, leads to increasing panel performance. At that phase, in 2022, they successfully harvest the plant, which is the mustard green or sawi, grown under this solar panel, and now it's still ongoing for measurement of or monitoring the panel performance, the solar panel performance. Okay. Now I'm in a research team at Civil Engineering Binus University on low carbon infrastructure. So the aim of this research is to reduce the emission, of CO2 from infrastructure sector. So this study led to what I am doing now as a visiting scholar at Murdoch University. In this program, I do a mentorship for students. I joined a research on geopolymer concrete, Australia and Indonesia working together for circular economy and decarbonization. This research is a collaboration also with BRIN in the Center for Sustainable Production System Research and Cycle Assessment. So what is geopolymer concrete? So geopolymer concrete actually converting this binder from ordinary Portland cement OPC to geopolymer. The geopolymer consists of a solid precursor, high aluminosilicate material. So here, such as the fly ash, or in Indonesia, we abbreviate this to FABA, fly ash bottom ash, plus the activator solution, of sodium hydroxide and sodium silicate plus aggregate, and curing then becomes a geopolymer concrete. Okay, the benefits of this geopolymer instead of OPC, that it less carbon emission than ordinary Portland concrete, and then also can be made of 0% of Portland cement, so not using the Portland cement at all. And then can be made also 100% waste material, meaning from the precursor, we can use fly ash, which is also the waste from the coal fly ash, coal power plant. And then for the aggregate, we can using the recycled aggregate. So the geopolymer concrete can be made with 100% waste material. And also for the alkali solution, for the silicate, we can also use the other material that have high silicate, which I will explain in the next slide. And geopolymer concrete can be made 100%, also 100% of faba fly ash. And with this, the cost will be less. So this is the example of the use of abu sekam padi or rice husk. In this, one student did a research using this. So it's high in sodium silicate, so it can be replacing the commercial sodium silicate with this rice husk. There is a big potential of both FA and RHA in Indonesia, where we have more than 200 coal power stations and 12.2 million hectares of rice field. Therefore, this study was conducted to use the abu sekam padi. Dr. Martin Anda allow me to share his slides to case study in Collie, Western Australia, where the large stockpiles of fly ash produced over the last 60 years generated in Collie and storage in large containment dam. This can be the material of the low carbon geopolymer. So in Western Australia, there is a coal closure plan from at this moment, Muja power station already closed, and then Collie will be closed in 2027, and the Blue Water power station. So what they did already in 2021 is lab trials in the Murdoch University called Collicrit, funded by WA government. They developed the mixed design, the manual batch, and arrived with 5 to 20 megapascal compressive strength. And they did also the economic study, collaborate with the Synergies, Paritas, Metis, and Gunfire to do the engineering, 3D design, and website. And the next year, in 2022, they did the field trials funded by Murdoch University and industry. They improved the mixed design and collaborate with the Pilati batching plant to do the field trial, and they managed to get the compressive strength of more than 20 megapascal. And this year, they try to do commercialization during using the fund from SUVO, the mining strategic mining company, and the Collie Future Plant. So I got also the chance to see this batching plant and see the trials. So lesson learned from current Australia Success Storage. So Energy Australia entered into an agreement with Nurok in 2014 to build a pilot plant that uses fly ash from Mount Piper Power Station to manufacture building materials such as bricks, pavers, and concrete blocks. So the future plan is to have a demonstration project in West Java, Lombok, and South Sulawesi, where the geopolymer concrete can be implemented for railways, slipper, breakwater, and panels. And these are the next step of the geopolymer concrete. So being a civil engineer and researcher so far has been good. I'm glad to share my experience with you today and to answer your question in Q&A session. Thank you.
Hello. Okay, thank you, Dr. Uriana. I know that was a video, but I know that you're online. Thank you very much. That was an excellent presentation. And welcome to everybody that's joined. I see we've got 48 or so online. Already there's one or two Q&A. What I propose is we have the questions at the end of the speakers, so that we allow the continuous flow of the evening. So our next speaker, Ibu Nova, is from the world of mining. She has a degree and master's degree in civil engineering. She's particularly interested in infrastructure solutions from pit mining all the way through to the port. She is also an entrepreneur, and she's established her own project management application. So I'm sure we'll be hearing about that. And she's contributed to the World Bank's Port-Led Development Program as a port engineer. So welcome, Ibu, and please come forward. You can write quite low with words. Okay.
Ini ya.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you for the introduction. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank you, ICE, for inviting me to be one of the speakers for tonight's event, which is on women in engineering. Start my. Okay. First, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Nova Sundralawanti. I'm a civil engineer, bachelor degree, and as well as a master degree. And here is the brief profile of my career during the last 15 years. So I started as engineering support in Petrosim. And during that time, I'm also involved in a Bambu Coal project. After that, I became project engineer in Worley Parks in Indonesia, working for coal project for Middle East coal and as well the study for ExxonMobil project. The most significant years for my career I spent in Baramuti Group. So I started there in 2011 as a project engineer at first, and become an engineering manager in the last 5 years of my career there. So the reason I left for Baramuti during COVID, so and I start focusing on helping my husband company with developing our own company. I will tell about this later, called Main Protein Indonesia. And as well at that time during COVID, I get
opportunity to join World Bank as a port engineer. Because we're talking about women engineering, of course, I'm a mother of two. This is my kids. My son also engineer. He's now an engineer working for PT Palija and ICE-JLA. And this is my daughter. He just got accepted in one of the uni in Jakarta, as well as becoming engineer too, majoring in industrial engineering. So 4 of us is all progress now, and hopefully my daughter too. Okay, a little bit background why I choose civil engineer. So when I growing up, my father was working for General Public of Work as a civil engineer. So his involvement in the projects, infrastructure projects such as bridge, road, and dams, that it fascinated me. Whenever we drove past them, he would point out his contribution and say that this is my project. This is what I face when I'm doing this project, and this is my contribution and the triumphs that he mentioned along the way. So his enthusiasm in his work has profound impact on me. So that is the reason why I choose to pursue my career in engineering. This is my maybe this photograph was taken when I visit Bandung, Poland. I think most Fuller is here 11 years ago. And the top one is just the recent photo, someone visiting one of the coal mining companies in East Kalimantan. Yeah, talking about my career journey in coal mining companies. So what I do is really look after for the project from every part of the project, from initiation, planning, execution, and also project close out. So we with the team designing the from pit to port, the process of the coal logistic chains. So in as you can see here, after the coal getting, so we are preparing the design for coal processing plant where the coal will be crushed there, and there is also another supporting facilities associated with the coal. The coal will be transferred using haul road or can be conveyed too. In this case, when in Baramuti in South Kalimantan, we deliver from coal processing plant to intermediate port around 34 kilometers. So in this port, the coal will be loaded to the barge, and then we built the canal along 14 kilometers of canal, and then connected to the existing river. And then in Sungai Puting, so we loaded the small batch to the bigger batch in Sungai Puting coal, and it transferred to major vessel for to be sent to the client. Yeah, this is some pictures of my project in coal companies. This is me looking after the structure for one of the batch loading coal. We building these facilities for transferring the coal from stockpile and also from direct from the conveyor using the material handlers, as you can see in these photos. Working in coal mining companies is not only dealing with the coal mining itself, but also we dealing with the local government. So some project of CSR or social responsibility, community social responsibility. This is some of the bigger project that we've been dealing during my work in mining companies. So we built this Sungai Puting Bridge using design, build, and build contract. Normally in coal company, we use design build contract, or we call it in bahasa rancang bangun or APC. But when dealing with government, so we need to follow what the regulation is. So this is the design build and build contract. where we choose the consultant for design as well. The contractor for the construction is using the regulation from the government. So this is my pictures when signing the agreement with the General Public of Works. Yeah, this is the bridge. The total long is around 480 meters. The the clearance around 7 meters. At that time, the government wants to build this bridge with this clearance around 2.5 meters. So then in that case, we cannot pass this river again. So that's why we we build this bridge with this higher clearance. So not only our barge can pass through the bridge, but also for the community in the area, they can use this river for logistics. And this project is very successful because we can call it, if we have 3 aspects in project management that people keep talking about: the quality, the schedule, and also the cost, and this bridge meets all 3 of them. So it's on budget, no additional requirement or variation order. This bridge built on schedule and also meet the quality from the government. As you can see here, the Ministry of Public Works, Pak Basuki, attending the ceremony of this bridge. This is another project for CSR that I've done before, and for building the landfill also in South Kalimantan, using design, build contract as well. So as you can see here that I'm reporting to the local government and central government on regular basis what the progress of the project, and also the issue that have come up. Because all of this method is using regulation by the government, so the project is successful, accepted by the government. So during our works, my husband and I, we as well engineer, we found that many problems occur during the project. It is said in the research that 80% of the problem is communication. So the feasibility, if we have a project in remote area, also the resource, and sometimes the information that exchange between the project teams cannot, sometimes not the same. People these days using WhatsApp. So if they have project like 5 projects, and they will have like 5 group of WhatsApp. That's what people do on these days. But we can see that cannot eliminate the problem. So when we still work in professionally in the company. We built this software called ManPro, stand for management project. So it's a project management application. Firstly, we manage the project for ourselves. Then after that, we try to give it to consultant to use it, and they found it. We give it for free, and they found it's very handy and help them to finding the solving the issue on the project. And after that, this application become commercial, and we joined some of the startup incubation. So in 2018, we are selected as one of the startup. There are 13 at that time, so we were selected by the Plug and Play. Plug and Play is a startup incubator from the Silicon Valley. So in 2018, we are selected as one of the startup that will be invest and improve in their program. So this is our team. It's my husband and co-founder Ibu Rani. So yeah, what our application do is this can monitor every project stage from initiating, planning, executing, controlling up to closing. What is the difference this our startup software as a service, among others. Our app is called No Code app, so we can make the menu easily, follow the client requirement so easily. So we don't need no code required to do that. So in Indonesia, we haven't got any application for the software as a service for project monitoring at that time. So we can call it, this is the first startup company made by Indonesian people. So we're very proud of that. So, and now here's our clients. At the moment, already more than 10,000 users using our application and more than 1,000 projects now in our application. So the users come from government, state-owned company and private companies. During COVID, because the projects, not so many projects at that time, our application have been used by several hospitals. So not only for doing their projects, but these hospitals use for daily business platform. So it can connect with their other application, existing application, as well as we also are working on Internet of Things. When during COVID, our application has been using to monitor the storage of the vaccine. So using the Internet of Things, it can be monitored using our application. So now not only for project itself, but now Menpro shift from management project to manage professionally. Okay, this is my involvement in World Bank for the last 3 years for the program called East Indonesia Port Web Development Program. So the idea is to reduce the logistic costs in East Indonesia by having this modern ship, we call it Roro ship. It's specially designed for logistics, and it can be for bad weather, it can travel and use the operation. It's really reliable. So we focus on NTT and Maluku, in North Maluku, Maluku Utara. Yeah, this is my picture with Pak Budi Karya reporting the progress of the project. And I have I'm fortunate to have visit this beautiful island. We dealing with around more than 20 ports at that time. So what I do is by having this kind of ship, we want to improve the existing port in small island. So by having this improvement of the ports itself, then this modern ship can be facilitated to access to the that area, to the remote area in North Maluku and also NTT. So I'm fortunate to visit Pulau Alor. It's really beautiful. Agapuku and Ende, Ternate, and many more. And early this year, I had a chance to visit some of the. This is the Camelot, the oldest shipyard in the UK. I think it's more than 180 years. So I had a chance to traveling from Kirkwall up to Isle of Man to Liverpool to see how this country manage their port. Also, you can see here, I think we haven't got this kind of ship in our country. So really efficient maintenance and operation and design of the port. So I learned a lot on this study tour. This is the picture of me with World Bank team and also some of the Ministry of Transportation's people during that study tour. Okay, now talking about civil engineering itself during my experience. So there are several important aspects other than engineering design and analysis. One of them is project management. So as a civil engineer, we are responsible to managing construction project from initiating up to closure. So there are stakeholders that need to be managed. There are budget and resource that need to be managed to the certain timelines, so the project is successful. The second, as a civil engineer, we need also to have communication and collaboration skill, because like I mentioned earlier, the communication is very, very important, because 80% of problem coming from communication. So communication skill is really important. And we also need to have a problem solving skill, because we face a complex issue on challenge during the planning into construction phase. So we need to have a skill to analyze problem, to identify them, how to handle them, then inform the decision. So it's meet the safety, environmental, and regulatory requirement. So as a civil engineer, we need to know the legal and ethical in their work. We need to understand the building code, the standard, the regulation, and other legal requirements, so to ensure that project meet the project comply with the applicable regulation and laws. Also, being civil engineer is a lifelong process, so we need to, no matter how old we are as an engineer, so we need to stay up to date with the latest development through continuous learning and professional development opportunities. Many like online course now these days you can get it. So also maybe if you are a bachelor degree, you could consider to take a master degree as well, something like that. And civil engineer is play a vital role in shaping the built environment and improving the quality of life. So we need to consider the social and economic impacts with the projects also. So how can we inspire them? I said that the first experience when we are on the front is always be the hardest and always the biggest thing, learning curve. So it's not only for female, it's for male as well. So when we first have the first job, we need to really, this is, you can see this. Maybe it's a classic job, Maybe you have seen this in previously seen this. But this is what happened when we encounter job in the posting. So this is the requirement from the employer. They want to have more from your experience. So this is I think the step by step that we can show in our profile to show the employer. So first, we can focus on transferable skills. It's highlight the skill, the knowledge that we get during this internship or the study. So and relevant that can emphasize the ability to quickly learn and adapt to a new environment. So we need to showcase the relevant experience, highlight the skill and knowledge as well that we gain during the studies. We can focus on that too. So another thing is we can highlight accomplishment and achievement. So as a fresh graduate, maybe you can you have received the good academic records or participate in competitions or complete notable projects, and that could be highlighted too. As well, networking and connection is more important. Maybe you can use your professor, your college, or your friends. So that's why networking and connection is very important, that we need to show them our track record. We need to show them that we are hard worker, we are trustworthy, and can be reliable. So that's I learned from the journey, from my journey as a civil engineer during these years. And also be open to entry-level position. So from that we can learn, and it's become the bridge for our next career. So we need to like open with the propose like internship, something like that, for new beginner or the first experience working in the firm. This is maybe to inspire for a mother or father to the kids to promote STEM education program in school and college. So role models and mentoring we can show to the young people to become engineer, and engineering is for everyone, so regardless of gender. During my years of experience, I haven't found any discrimination. On the other hand, I found it's very rewarding and challenging opportunity because the project is start to finish. So you can get change the project. Every project is different team, different challenge. You learn from there, and it's quite rewarding. And also, this is one of the opportunity like World Bank proposed. This is just open. So this is focused on female engineer, and internship like this you can find it a lot in LinkedIn or Google. This is just announced in World Bank. Sorry. Oops. Okay. Oh, this is just some of the tips for me as a female engineer. So not to be afraid to step out of the comfort zone. So we can discover our potential by working on out of the comfort zone. So, and don't take things too personally. So focus doing the best you can, and eager to learn and have self-confidence. Also have work-life balance. Like me, I'm a mother, so I need to work out, and having the supporting system at home is really important for a woman, especially if you are become a mother. So it's really work-life balance. The support system at home and also in the office is really important if we are a woman. So yeah, being a woman engineering is not always easy, but it's incredibly rewarding. As you can see, I'm traveling a lot to many countries to handling the different projects, and when the project is really successful, it's really satisfying feeling that I got, and it's very rewarding. So yeah, thank you. And you can maybe the picture of me of Pak Jokowi when he invited me, because I'm one of the startup that have been using by state-owned government, by Bank BTN, and also for some industries. So I had a chance to talk to him and invited me in one event. Thank you.
Thank you, Nova. That was absolutely excellent. Thank you very much for that, really inspirational. We'll move on now to the world of infrastructure. Ibu Trudy, who is works for Arrow. She's a deputy infrastructure team leader. A lot of experience in Australia and in Indonesia. She's worked as a contractor and a consultant. Worked on smart motorways in Sydney. She's got an interest in asset management. She's contributed to 2 national strategic projects here in Indonesia. She's clever. She's got a master's in engineering science as well, from the University of New South Wales. She also says that she likes brisk walking in nature. I wonder if you do that in Jakarta. Anyway, let's hear all about it. Trudy, please come forward.
Seems like I have the same problems with you, Phil, with the microphone. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all in person and also online. I still need to figure out where should I look at, where's the camera and all that. But thank you for the invitation, Phil, and ICE-JLA Local Association. And thank you for some introduction as well. So just quickly, my name is Rudy Hasnataftiana. Don't get confused, I'm 100% Indonesian, but you can call me Trudy. I'm currently the Deputy Infrastructure Team Leader at ARUB Indonesia. ARUB is an engineering consultancy. So maybe I'll let you know more in the upcoming slides. So yeah, maybe I'll start with why did I choose civil engineering? Yes, actually it relates to my hobby about brisk walking in nature. I understand in Jakarta it's a bit hard, but it's actually getting better these days. So you can find some areas where you can find open space and have some walking around, hanging out. So why civil engineering and how it relates to my hobby of traveling. So actually, I really love looking at city skyline. If you can see my picture on the left side over there, so that was me traveling in Sydney, and then looking at the city skyline of Sydney, and I just mesmerized looking at different kinds of buildings, different kinds of infrastructure, like the bridge over there. So I'm always interested to know how is this being built, and built environment, it just excites me. So you can see the other pictures as well. So because I like traveling, I like driving, also using public transport such as rail. When I look at the tunnels, look at the road, look at the train station, it's always triggers something that is curiosity in my mind. How are these being built? And then you sometimes compare between different rail stations, like this one is better because I like it, because there's this integration and all that. So that's why I choose civil engineering, and I truly believe that if you connect it to something really simple within you, like there is something that naturally you just love, it will take you further. So maybe take it like a childhood dream and just connect it with your passion, and then you'll see how it will bring you forward in life. And then so I made the sensible choice because I know that I'm interested in engineering. I like traveling. I like looking at roads, obsessed with rail stations. So I took my bachelor's degree in Indonesia. It's in Bandung, not ITB. So I went to Universitas Katolik Parahyangan. And when I was graduated at the time, I was one of the 20 female engineers amongst 200 students. So that's 10% of the total students. It sometimes can be quite daunting to be the only female in the class. You can see from the graduation picture there, a lot of guys, a lot of males, and just a little bit female at the top. But then it didn't stop me. So I know that I want to learn, and I just keep going. So I did graduated cum laude. So that was very satisfying, and I also was active in a couple of organizations in there, like the Civil Engineering Society, the representative Majelis Perwakilan Mahasiswa, I don't know what it is in English, so representative house of the university. So took a lot of different experiences during the university, and that actually gives you the network and the connection, and that's how you learn to communicate between different backgrounds, and that's really helpful for me now. I didn't see it as an advantage at the time. I just thought maybe I'll try to step up and take this challenge, but actually that bravery really helped me at this time. So after graduation from Bachelor of Civil Engineering, I continued to take my master's degree in construction management in University of New South Wales. And I was thinking of saving up, but then there was the opportunity to get the scholarship. So I did went with the Indonesia Endowment Fund. Maybe it's more commonly known as LPDP. So I went there to take my master's degree, sponsored by LPDP, and then I graduated, and that's my family saving up and come up during the graduation and take a picture in front of Sydney Opera House. So taking back to making it simple, connecting it to your childhood dream, I actually choose Sydney because I was really curious about Sydney Opera House. I want to see it live in person. Because I just see it from outside, but from pictures. I mean, I just see it from pictures, but I really want to know because it looks like it's a complex structure. How does it build? What is the inside of? How does it look like inside? So that curiosity, and also the Harbour Bridge, that curiosity brings me to choose Sydney. And yeah, I still cannot believe that I did take that leap of faith to actually apply for LPDP and then apply for master's degree. So yeah, that's my education background. So yeah, I did graduated with Bachelor of Engineering and Master of Engineering Science. I'm trying really hard to be a chartered engineer with ICE as well. It's really hard, guys. But yeah, that's my education background. And then at that time, I also tried to find opportunities to work in there in Sydney. So I did try it very, very hard. So I didn't have any connections that can connect me with someone who has worked in engineering in Australia or in Australia. So I tried all different avenues. So I contacted through my lecturers. I tried to come to the university career expos. I tried to come to company presentations. I do all the things that I think I need to do because I'm really curious. I really want to have hands-on experience. So it's really great, the opportunity to learn from best practice, I suppose, in Australia, but I really want to see it in practice. So I really tried hard, and I think it was a really long journey. I think it was a couple of months. I tried to search for a job during my last year, during my master's degree, from career expo to career expos. I almost gave up actually because the main obstacle at the time was because I don't have any connection, one. And then I was also, my visa was student visa. So I have very limited working time. So even if someone hires me, I can only work maximum 20 hours per week. So it's quite a huge limitation. And usually the companies, they would prefer someone who either is already a permanent resident or is planning to be a permanent resident in Australia. And I did not have the money at the time, so I cannot answer that at the time. So that was the main challenge. And then I still don't give up, but actually I almost give up. So I thought I'm too busy with my final thesis and I have to graduate as well. So I was reconsidering my life choices at the time, and I decided to go for one more career expo at the time. I remember it was one of the late afternoon courses during my master's degree, and then I remember I saw this flyer place in Sydney. It's called Redfern. If anyone has been in Sydney and saw and heard the name of Redfern, they know it's not the most glamorous area to be in. But I saw that flyer that they have a career expo there near the Redfern railway station, and it's not a big career expo as well. It's not like that picture on the left, but it's much smaller. And I decided, okay, this is going to be my last effort to try and apply for a civil engineering job in Sydney. And then I went there. There were very limited companies there, but I stumbled upon this one stall or booth. The company is called Vetya. At the time, it was Later Contractor, so they changed names, they changed ownership, but essentially they are the contractor who is doing operation and maintenance of motorway tunnel, multiple motorway tunnels in Sydney and actually across Australia. So I'm interested to apply there, and then I just asked around and at that booth. And then I actually got told by one of the engineers to wait there. Trudy, just wait here. Sarah from HR will come here and she will tell you how to apply to our company. So I waited. I waited and then I waited. I actually waited for 3 hours at the same booth. So I just keep asking different people, and then people start looking at me. What is that girl for 3 hours? But persistence pays off. So Sarah finally come, and she was helping me. She said, just send your CV to me. I'll try to forward it to all of the O&M managers, and we'll see if anyone comes back. Still no guarantee, but worth a shot. So after that, I think it's only around a week or something. So Sarah called me back and she said that one of the operation and maintenance manager is interested to have an interview with me. So I was, of course, very excited. I picked that chance, and I met with the operation and maintenance manager, have the interview, and still the same question about permanent residency. But I still say that I really want to learn, and I believe that I can provide value for you. So 2 days after, my boss at the time, he was called Nadir. So he called me in 2 days time and gave me the offer. Come here, let's do it together. I'm excited to give you this opportunity. So I got my first job offer. That's the O&M contractor. So that the site that I was in was very close to Sydney Airport. So I should have put the tunnel picture. I forgot to do that, but maybe there are some pictures after this. So basically, the job was to be the civil engineer who do the inspection, who do the maintenance planning, checking all the conditions for the motorway tunnel. That is very close to the airport. That's called M5 East. It was a smart motorway, so that motorway is full of electronics telling you where to stop and all that. And then they have this air quality sensor. They have the water treatment plant, smart, connected to the control room. So it was a very overwhelming experience. And to connect to what Nova mentioned, it was very, very overwhelming as the first job because you need to learn a lot. And also you can see in the middle that it's mostly male. I was the only female engineer at the time on site. The other female was receptionist and accountant. So every time we have night shift and we have to do routine inspections or do any refurbishment to the pavement or some concrete structures need to be filled back in. I was the only female engineer who was in that night shift. So at the time, it was mostly male engineers and male technicians. And of course, I would put it bluntly that sometimes because of that, because of the voice of a female as well, sometimes they don't listen to you. And sometimes you still have to do the male voice like this until they can listen to you. Actually, this is how I sound like during the contractor life. And you have to yell at them at the time, but progressively it's getting better. And I'm really truly enlightened to see the audience here, that many of the females are interested to be civil engineers and looking forward for that. So that's the first job ever, and yeah, it's a steep learning curve. Also, I'm not really sure why, but because of the environment engineer at the time, she was leaving. So I was learning on the job, taking over her role as well. So I was supposed to be the civil engineer, but then the environmental engineer left. And then my manager said, okay, we need someone to still make sure that the environmental things like water quality and water treatment plant are actually working. So we still need someone to be the environmental engineer. So I took it. That's thankfully the environmental engineer at the time, she wrote a very detailed guideline before she left. So I just learned from her guideline. But it's mostly learning on the job. So checking the pH, the iron level, and then checking if the water treatment plant is still working or not. It's like comparing water in and water out, comparing the quality, and there are like some maximum limitations of the content in the water that you need to make sure of. And then also learning on the job, because this is an operation and maintenance contractor. So things like this, like the truck flip over at the entrance of your tunnel can happen, and that will make national news. So the contractor needs to find out how to manage the situation, how to mitigate this. So how to make sure that we can open tunnel again safely, and that it's not only just taking out the truck by tow truck or something, but it's also making sure that the assets that's around it that is probably being hit by this truck is still safe and will not fall down to the motorway users. Like for example, we take a quick check at that bottom left there, and then we see that there are some defects that might so the wall panel over here can probably fall down to the motorway user. That's not the best defects photo I have, but just to give an example that that kind of assessment as a civil engineer you need to make quickly, and then you need to make sure that the infrastructure asset that you are either constructing or operating or maintaining is safe to be used. So this is everything learned on the job. And also I was 100% Indonesian, so I didn't really had exposure to work in a multicultural environment. So having this job at the time, it was a very rewarding experience, because you learn not only civil engineering knowledge, but you also learn how to deal with different people with different backgrounds, different ethnicity. They have different ways of thinking. They have different things that fix them. And sometimes you say the wrong things that you didn't realize. So working here was a very good experience to learn that people sometimes you think that they're trying to offend you, but they're not. So learning to work in a multicultural environment is also important, because that helps you as well in the future, because you will meet with different kinds of people. You will meet with different characters, and by having experience to work in a multicultural environment gives you exposure to how you would deal with it. Yeah, and this was Harmony Day. Different people will bring different people bringing food from their origin. So I bring martabak. I don't know what else to bring, so I just bring a good snack for everyone. But you can see different ethnicities over there. And at that time, finally, another female engineer joined. So it was a good progress at the company. Yeah, so I was civil engineer and maintenance planner for around a couple of months, I think 10 months, close to a year. And then I was trusted by my manager to take on a role after less than a year in the company, and obviously that also means that it's less than a year out of uni. So at the time, the operation and maintenance contract is close to an end. So they need to do a handover. So that means the asset that's being operated and maintained by the contractor needs to be transferred back to the government, which is Roads and Maritime Services at the time in Sydney. Maybe here, what would you call it? The Samarga. So the asset is being returned back to the government, and there are a lot of things that needs to be done. I didn't know what handover means at the time, and also my senior engineer who was actually teaching me all of the things was being passed on this opportunity. So navigating that was quite hard. But my manager trusted me to do the role, and he also trusted me to communicate directly with the senior personnel at RMS to make sure that they are happy with the handover, they are happy with the conditions. So if you are doing handover, usually there is the independent engineer doing condition assessment. So they will check the asset, and then they will point out defects. And at the time, they come up with 900 something defects. So as a part of being the asset handover lead, I was expected to also make sure that all of these defects are being rectified quickly before the handover. So that's another imposter syndrome. I really don't know most of the defects, because it's not only the civil engineer kind of defects, but it's also mechanical. So if you can see on the second picture, that is me trying to understand what is going on with this jetpack, which is usually a mechanical engineer job. So another thing that is important is that people actually understand that you are not a master at everything. You're not an expert at everything. So if you don't know something, you can just ask someone else. So don't be afraid to leverage your connection to learn something new. Like the person who's helping me here is not there because the mechanical engineer was taking the picture. But actually at that elevated work platform, he was also guiding me on what to check on that jetpack. So that's me in Sydney. And then after a couple of years, can't remember, 4 years, around 4 years, I decided it's time to come back home. And after first job as contractor, I decided to try and apply for a consultancy role in Jakarta, which is Arab. So Arab does many things, from the upstream work, doing due diligence, up to the operation and maintenance, and also the detailed design. So Arab is a consultancy who basically does everything, almost everything relates to built environment. But having experience as a contractor and then you move to a consultant, it was quite a challenge, because in contractor, you are used to focus on one thing. But in consultancy, you might be delivering projects in parallel. It can be 3, 4, and it can be in different cities. It can be in different stages of the project. So it was a challenge for me, having to be able to do things quickly and also multitask. So yeah, that's me trying to burning the midnight oil. Very sad, not knowing, or not sure what am I doing here. And that's my first breakfast in the Arab Jakarta office. I'm used to running around on the road, and then I came to Arab, and it's an office in the high-rise building, so it was quite cool at the time. So yeah, I decided to try on this challenge, and I just trust the process. At the time, I didn't know what a consultant usually do. So I learned that, okay, so they do different things like design, studies, strategizing, master planning, and many things. And they produce, the consultancy produce reports, verdict, and usually the senior client will only read the first page. There's a lot of pain for a consultant, but and the appendices are just sitting there. But it was a very rewarding experience because you learn a lot of things in consultancy. Because as I said before, the projects that you need to deliver in consultancy, sometimes you need to deliver many things in parallel, and that means that you are absorbing knowledge quickly in a very limited time. So yeah, so I was lucky that I have a good work environment, and it gives me a space to learn, and I just trust the process. Even though in the beginning I really don't know what is expected of me, and what is a good work meaning in consultancy, but I just trust the process. I learned on the job, and these are some examples of different projects that I can share with you. So was involved in the technical due diligence for a toll road, and that's a photo of me there. And that was actually one of the first projects that I managed, and it ended up being submitted to the partnership awards, and it did win the technical advisor of the year. So it was very rewarding because during the delivery of the project, it was very painful for me because I need to learn it, but I need to also lead and manage the team. But it was worth it. And then also involved in developing a framework for a new capital city. So that's one of the photos of one of the FGDs during that development. And also yeah, and also another project over there helping ADB being their technical advisor. So just that. Sorry about that. And then yeah, this is actually the last slide. So just sharing what I have learned so far. So persistence pays off. So if you want to achieve things that it's okay to fail and fail again, but keep trying, and then trust yourself and the process. Even though you don't know anything in the beginning, that's okay. But just trust the process, and you will learn on the job. And also leverage your connection. Don't be afraid to learn new things. You're not expected to be expert in everything, so learn from anyone, really. So I think that's all. Thank you, and I'll pass it back to you. Sorry.
Really, a wonderful ongoing career, and it's great to hear that. We'll move quickly on to our last speaker tonight, who is Jocelyn. Jocelyn is a project manager and senior engineer at WSP, based here in Jakarta. She's also now a MPhil candidate in engineering for sustainability development at the University of Cambridge. Most of her work has been in Australia. She's really got a background in infrastructure, but since she came back to Indonesia, we've managed to teach her a little bit about mining as well. So we're hoping that's where she stays, but we're not sure. But I do know that her real passion is sustainability, and I'm sure, and inclusion and diversity. I'm sure we'll hear something a bit about that as well. So Jocelyn, over to you.
Okay, thanks, Phil, for the introduction. So, hi everyone, I'm Jocelyn. As Phil said, I work with Phil at WSP, so know Phil really well, and he described me pretty well. So, as Phil said, I'm senior engineer, project manager at WSP, graduate member of ICE, and now I'm moving towards getting my chartership. And also, I'm a candidate in engineering for sustainable development at University of Cambridge. So, if there's no drama, I should be moving to UK in September this year. I'll start with introduction a bit about myself. So basically, that's my family. I'm the youngest in the family and also the only daughter, and no one in our family is engineer, so I'm the only one basically. And that just sums up a bit about myself. Like most people, I enjoy traveling. Yeah, not just to post them on social media really, but just to learn and experience about a few different cultures. Also like keeping myself fit and healthy. I'm a foodie, and yeah, I love my red wine and cheese. Why engineering? I have never had problem deciding what I want to study after I finished high school. I always knew it's going to be engineering, and yeah, just easy choice, civil engineering. Why? Because I think I'm a problem solver. I'm also good and I enjoy math subject. I enjoy intellectual stimulation, and sounds cliche, but I like to contribute to society, and seeing tangible results give me personal satisfaction. And the other thing I think is a really versatile degree, so I highly recommend that to everyone. Just a bit on my academic journey. So since young, I always knew that I wanted to live and study abroad. And I've been quite grateful that my family was very supportive of that. So I started with going to Malaysia to Inti University and College to get my diploma in civil engineering. And then after that, I went to UNSW to get my bachelor's degree. So there was just a couple of photos during graduation with my parents. And then those are just some field trips that we had in our undergrad study, and those are 4th-year data. So university time has been a blast. So I'll talk a bit through about my journey in academic and then during professional. So the first challenges I'm going to talk about is during the 4th-year journey of my undergrad study. So if the students, like, you probably could relate. So I'm just going to describe it in a star situation. So it was in 2009, in the midst of GFC, the global financial crisis. So I knew that I wanted to stay in Sydney after graduation, and I wanted to work there because it's always been a dream of mine to work overseas. So my task was actually to secure a full-time graduate role in Sydney prior to graduation. And as most people have said, the challenge was obviously because I was an international student, I didn't have a visa, and then, yeah, I was very young at the time, 21 and 22, barely know anyone in Sydney. So I knew my action really, I had to stand up. I had to sell my achievement and accomplishment, because when you apply for a grad role, like, you can't really sell your experience. All you can sell is really your CV, your transcript, and what makes you stand out from others. And that being international student, a female, a minority, that's poses another challenge. So I took action, right? Because I had to prove to my future employee that yes, I'm worth hiring. And so yeah, so during my 4th year, I set my eye right on the prize that the school give out. So that's an industry sponsor prize that's given to outstanding students. So there were a few that given to different kind of areas, geotech, structure, water, and so I had to play the thing strategically. So I set up I analyzed and checked, okay, so which area has the least competition. So I knew that none of my high achiever friends had chosen geotech. So that's why I chose geotech, because I knew I had a good shot at it. So I went ahead and, okay, so majoring in geotech, did my honors thesis in geotech. And then in the end, it worked out really well because I won the prize, so I won the industry sponsor prize in geotech, being one of the most outstanding performers in that area. And I won like 1,500, which was really good, really a lot of money at the time. So that meant a lot. And also, like, there was this event organized by Australian Geomechanics Society. It's called Sydney Young Geotechnical Professionals Evening. It's like an annual event held by them to encourage young speakers at the age under 35 to present their work. So at the time I was an undergrad student, but I thought this could be a really good opportunity to showcase my work. So, and my supervisor was very encouraging. So we worked together on the submitted the abstract, and then surprisingly, like I was shortlisted. So being at the time, I was the only undergrad student. I was 21, and I was competing against all these young professionals. But I was selected, and yeah, it went really well. Like I presented on the night and I won the second prize. And yeah, this is the photo, really old photo of 2009, but that was from the night. And then there was just like a 4-year dinner where I was awarded the prize. So mission accomplished, secure grad role with coffee before graduation. So I just went straight to coffee few months before I graduated and said, okay, I would like to apply for a job. I like to work here. And then straight away they took me in without hesitation, because obviously I demonstrated my achievement, my accomplishment, and my value. So that worked really well. So a bit of a career journey, as Phil said, I spent a lot of time in Australia. I went there to study for about 3 years, and now I've worked there for about a decade. So my career spanned across a few different consulting firms. So I started as a student engineer at Oregon. So I was doing structural bridges there, and then I moved on to coffee. That's my first grad role as geotech engineer for about 3 years. And then in there, like I started to realize, okay, I enjoy geotech, but I also enjoy project management. So and then I got another role with government. So and then after coffee, and I move on to City of Sydney. After City of Sydney, and then move on to Sydney Metro, which is still at the time Australia's biggest public transport project, valued at about 20 billion. So that's really big, significant projects that I had privilege to work on. And then I moved back to Indo. So that was a really big move after a decade in Australia. But I decided to take this major decision and move back to Jakarta, and now happily employed at WSP Indonesia. And during my time, I worked closely with some of the largest tier 1 contractor in Australia, Leighton, CPB, John Holland. I was also embedded in delivery group with Bechtel. I'm not sure if I'm, but it's one of the largest and biggest construction firm in the world. So I've known some of the people there really well, and yeah, it's been a really good experience. So instead of just talking about achievement, I will talk about challenges, because you can't achieve something without going through challenges, because we all will go there at the same time, at some point. So what I found during my time is like, on my first grad role, I think the site work was really hard. That was probably the biggest challenge that I had to face, and I was self-taught. I remember being sent to a site in the middle of nowhere, somewhere in between New South Wales and Queensland. It's just a very alien environment, you know, you hardly see any Asian, and I was first time on site. It was really hard. And then also being an Asian, sometimes just feel like, okay, yeah, you just being minority in a really male dominated industry. And also like silly, but I can't operate manual cars, and I still can't. And I was expected to drive it around because, you know, I had to carry core boxes. So this is one of the example of my early days. Like I was really bad, but now I'm probably better. I think Phil can testify. I drove him back one day. So, but yeah, that was really hard. Like all these challenges, like, yeah. But then like I had a strategy, right? I think being in Australia kind of toughened me up. And like the way I overcome it is with like mindset. Also be resilient and persevere. You need to go all out in everything you do, because once you know your purpose, then yeah, you just have to keep going, and then yeah, set your eye on your goal. Like one of the principles that Stephen Covey said that apply, you begin with end in mind, right? So you know your goal, and then you work your way back towards, and then yeah, just work on your short-term goal to achieve that bigger goal that you have in your mind. So that's what I did, and I overcame all these challenges, like being from self-taught geotechnical engineer, and within 2 years, like I became proficient in like all this site work. So what I'm saying is like challenges are always there. So we just have to learn from it, be tough, keep going, and then yeah, we'll get there eventually. And last And as I said, squeaky wheel gets the oil, if you know what I mean. And then just some of the significant projects that I've done is mainly in Sydney, really. So yeah, from being sent to like middle of nowhere and then not knowing how to do field work, I became proficient, competent, and then before I realized, I started getting all these significant projects, high complex projects in Sydney City. So these are just one of the most significant projects. That's the redevelopment of Darling Harbour. So I was building a borehole in the middle of like huge stadium, like that, which requires a lot of like coordination, management. So I kind of enjoy that. And then I've also done some projects in Sydney Opera House. I was drilling near the seawall to restore near the Sydney Botanic Garden. So a lot of high complex projects in a really difficult environment, and which require a lot of management, coordination, and risk management, which kind of like what I'm really good at. Also had some really good experience delivering the works at Central Station. So this is during my time at City Metro. So as we all know, Central Station is like probably the biggest, largest, and busiest train station in Sydney. So that was a complex projects that has its own contract, etc. So I was a deputy project manager for 2 years there. So I had really good experience dealing with all the challenges. This is some of the photos during my time at Sydney Metro. And that lovely weather, the projects that Phil and I have been working on. So yeah, this is like a very remote island on northwest of Maluku. And I'm going to talk about causes I'm passionate about. So I've been involved in women in engineering ever since at Sydney. So I've been quite active in volunteering and attending all these sort of events, organized by Sydney Metro or Engineers Australia. Basically, it's the same thing, to inspire young women to pursue the career within engineering. So we actually we organize like career fair. So we were there for a few days and we just talked to a lot of students. Basically, just try to explain what's engineering is and why you should do it. Basically, just to encourage them and just really interest. And with the perks of volunteering, you get a fancy dinner. I'm also passionate about mental health. Mental health, I think, in Australia is a really one of the causes that probably get overlooked, but it really is a big issue. So I was quite active in participating in like Are You Okay Day, just to raise the mental health awareness at work. So I'm just gonna end it with some tips and takeaway to make it short. So it's okay to want to experience first. Sometimes maybe you don't know what you want to do in life, and I think that's okay. Not many people know what they want to do when they were 17 or 18. Even me in my 30s, I'm still trying, I'm still learning. I'm still wanting to experience everything. That's why I'm moving to Cambridge. Like, you don't really go to do masters in your 30s, but for me, life is about experience. So it's okay to not know and just go with it. And immerse in the culture. So I highly recommend that. I mean, that's probably more applicable if you're living in different countries, but I think by immersing yourself in the culture that you're really enriching and broaden your horizon. So I do recommend that everyone, if you get a chance, like try to live or work or study overseas if you can. You don't have to do it during your undergrad, but remember there's a lot of opportunity with postgrad scholarship that you can always get. And don't put yourself out there. You can experience all this, different culture. And then speak up and ask. I know sometimes a lot of us are shy. And then, sometimes you're not confident, but I think it's really important that we speak up whenever you feel like you need to. Don't be shy, because I think most people really appreciate when you actually be proactive and just ask. And stay true to yourself, but also be adaptable, because I think it's really important being an engineer. In a really difficult environment, you have to deal with a lot of people, and you just have to be flexible and adaptable. And last but not least, enjoy the process and have fun. There's just a couple of pictures of me with my colleagues. Some of the best friends, some of the best people that I've met in my life are during the journey at work. So, work isn't all about emails, meetings, so just try to make the best out of it. Like, you can always have something outside of work that you can do with your colleagues. And then, enjoy it. That's all I have really. Thank you, everyone.
I think that was a very great way to finish the evening. Look, I'm conscious that it's getting a little bit late and we're probably getting hungry in here. There's still 60 people online, so you know, it's great that you stayed on, and you know, it's good. I think it's been 4 fascinating presentations. We will have a time for just a couple of questions, just to really sum up. You'll have noticed from all 4 speakers that there's a few common themes came through. They're all great communicators. They've taken time to speak directly to the audience, and they were so good to listen to. It's so important in engineering. They've been persistent in their careers, and they've overcome challenges. We've heard the term leap of faith. They've all done that and not been afraid to take on difficult tasks. And there's been no complaints about, you know, being a female in the industry. In fact, it's been positively celebrated, and that's a fantastic message for people coming through. They're all experts in their field, but not one of them describes themselves as an expert. We've heard continuous learning, development. That's come through all the time, and absolutely, totally agree with that. Imposter syndrome, I've heard that. It's a long time since I've heard that term, but it is how you feel at times when you're stepping into a challenging situation, and you know, you feel that you're not good enough, but again, sticking with it, talking to people, asking questions is the only way to do it. So, and I felt that it was a common theme came through from all 4 speakers, even though their journeys have been very different. So I think we'd better call it an end there. So really all I'll say is, are there any questions in the room, maybe from the students, that we could perhaps just quickly take? I don't know about online. I see there's one that's Q&A. So first of all, anything from the room, anybody would just quickly like to ask? Karen, do you want to come forward?
All right, thank you, everybody. What amazing speakers. I'm so amazed to see the brilliant diversity in women in engineering here in Indonesia. It's fantastic. So just a really quick question to Nova and to Trudy. So Trudy, you know, you started your life as a contractor and then moved to consulting. I know it's a big theme in ICE to have experienced both sides of the fence. So do you think that helped in your career? And then my other question was to Nova. You know, Trudy and Jocelyn have both had amazing experiences in Australia where there's a real cultural push to be inclusive of women and diversity, but your career has been here in Indonesia. Do you think that was harder? So question to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Yes, I think that's a very fantastic question. Happy to answer that. Oh, go back to the screen. Everyone can see you. Not used to this kind of information. Yes, I think it's really helpful for me. Because during contractor, you don't multitask. So you're focused on doing one thing only. And that actually is embedded in your mind. So whenever you are doing the consultancy work, you can always connect it back to your experience as a contractor because you're practicing it for a long time. Because in consultancy, you do things quickly, which is really great. It gives you the breadth of knowledge, but in contractor, you do one thing, you focus on one thing, and then you know many different challenges and how you did overcome that, and that helps you
doing consultancy. No, that's right. Thank you, Trudy.
So your question is diversity of my.
Yeah, I mean, you've spent your whole career here in Indonesia. Do you think there is a culture in Indonesia trying to encourage women in engineering? You know, I know that's a big thing in Australia. I'm not so sure here if it's a thing or not, especially in mining. You spent so much of your career in mining, which is, you know, there's graduations of engineering in environmental engineering. There's generally quite a lot of women.
Yes.
In mining, not so many.
Yeah. Yes, especially if I find in mining projects, there are very few women still involving in this kind of projects. I think for other projects, a lot of women involved, but in mining, and it's not so many.
How can we change that?
I think maybe female engineer, young female engineer, maybe really not really maybe because in mining it's actually you can dealing with all of kind of the infrastructure, you know, from road, bridge, port design, jetties, and everything. So I think to start to acknowledge there's a lot of opportunities in coal industries to be as a potential for female engineer to push their career in the future. So I think maybe they need to look after or looking for more information on that for the person, not only on infrastructure, other infrastructure itself, but in mining. There are a lot of challenges, you know. I become a port engineer based from the part that I designed back in the port company. So that can go, you know, to expand more experience. I think in mining is really a challenging project, not only specified on road, on bridge, but all of the various projects. So it's really interesting to work on that industry.
Yeah, so many challenges. Yeah,
Yes.
it's very inspiring. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys. So, just quickly, any more questions from the room? I do know that there's one that I think. Did we have a question online? Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, Ibu, you're out. I've lost it.
Yes.
You clearly found working in water resources moving around. Water resources rewarding. How would you persuade university graduates to go into this field? And there's a second part as well for you, which has disappeared. I can't read them if I can't see them, guys.
Okay, shall I read my answer?
Please answer. Yeah.
Okay. So nice to meet all of the panelists, Ibu Nova, Trudy, and Jocelyn. So there's a question here from David. He's asking about how would I persuade university graduates to go into this field, the water resource field. So maybe in my case, some of my students are doing their final thesis on water resource related topics. So I gave them some topics of a water resource so they can gain more knowledge, and also they can increase their analytical skill. And then they become interested in it. So hopefully with this, they will gain confidence, and then they want to learn more in choosing this professional career in this field. So for the second question, about the overpumping in Denpasar, then the water become brine. So it's true. So still now, actually, the groundwater over abstraction, especially in the tourism area, but maybe they also actually now they prefer to use the desalination technique using the reverse osmosis. So from the seawater to clean water, it's better in quality. And maybe you wonder why they don't choose the PDAM. So I got this from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resource, as the in a division of groundwater. They actually try to make the permit. So they had this permit to get the abstraction. So, but that's the only way they can monitor, but not to, maybe not to the level of regulate, because it's very difficult also for this industry to get the water. So maybe a better policy should be implemented to solve this problem. That's all, maybe, Phil, the answer from the question in the online.
Okay, thank you, Bill. I'm glad you stayed online. Thank you for that. Do we have any other? Is that it for online? That's it. I think we'll bring it to a close there, guys. It's getting late and dinner is ready. Just finally, thank you to our speakers that have attended here live, and to Rihanna for taking the time and joining from Australia. Looking forward to meet you when you come back. And also thanks to the audience for coming and listening. It's good to see so many people here at EP and everybody online. So have a good evening, and see you next time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Pak Phil for guiding the session. Once again, thank you. Thank you to all the speakers for your excellent presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the end of the event. Once again, thank you for your participation. We hope to see you at the next event. Good evening and stay healthy, everyone. Thank you.
For everyone that's been patient and to get a certificate and SAT point, I suggest everyone to scan the link, to open the link or scan the barcode to get